rents officer for the Wyndford Tenants Union, which is a branch of Living Rent, and the being in a tenants union has been brilliant for me, and I'm going to tell you about some of the stuff we've been up to.
Yeah, well, I've been emailing Cube myself, and then passing on any findings to the Living Rent to, like, for example, Nick, you know, to say, well, I've sent this and this is what they've sent back, just to sort of build the case. As an individual, they'll dismiss you. If you're an individual, they'll come up with some gobbledygook about regulations, even though the actual thing is wrong, but they'll try and just sort of palm me off and palm me off and palm me off.
Always been quite stressed about, you know, when I was working or when I was a student, how can I afford to pay my rent and then do the other things I need to do, you know, bills, etc. And I just found it a really horrible thing that more than half of your income could go on rent, sometimes a lot more than that. And you're always chasing your tail really to have enough money to make it, you know, for your next payment. And living rent to me is really important, and the impact it has on the quality of your life.
One of the very first things we did as a tenants union was a campaign about the price of heating. It's a bit unusual here because everybody's heating comes from this one kind of miniature power station that we've got actually on the scheme that pumps hot water around all the different houses, which was it was sold to us like it would be a cure for fuel poverty, and we were all told we'd have really low fuel bills, and that wasn't the case at all. But the good thing about all having the same energy supplier is that you can act collectively, and so we started doing that. We had negotiations with with SSE and tried to force them to give us a better tariff, which they did in the end.
I once had just moved here as well. That was in the middle of when they were doing the SSE campaign.
Is that?
With the power station and the electricity.
All right.
Yeah. So they were right in the middle of that when I moved here, and it was really great to turn up and sort of be living somewhere and realise that there were like an organisation that could challenge a company that big, you know, like a utilities giant.
And we also took on loads of cases for people, and that was like the most personally satisfying thing for me, because I managed to get people's electricity and their heating and hot water put back on if they'd been cut off. Managed to get some people deductions from their bills, and you know, we had people who hadn't had any heating for, you know, like upwards of a year. We had people going to the community centre there and joining the gym just so that they could use the showers. That was quite normal. We had people having to shower and wash at their neighbours' houses. You know, we'd proven that we were capable of acting collectively, and having demonstrations and getting ourselves in the papers, and that made everybody take it all a little bit more seriously. We got results for a lot of people.
Well, Living Rent, they act as a collective for people like us who have got the sort of same concerns, and collect everybody's sort of information and complaints and everything like that, and act as an advocate for people who have their individual issues. Like I said, because when you complain individually to the likes of the Keep Housing, they won't listen, they don't care.
Being in a tenants union's been really good during the pandemic, knowing that there's a lot of members on the estate, that there's people all sticking together. So as an example, one of the things we've done is a campaign to make sure that there's like proper cleaning, that the landlords are making sure the communal areas are clean all the way through, that they're cleaning the lifts, and just making sure, sticking together, making sure it's a safe place through what's obviously a really worrying time for everybody.
I got involved in Living Rent after following the Wyndford Tenants Union on Facebook and seeing the work they were doing to just bring about better quality of life for the residents in the Wyndford. I don't think it's right that people are struggling to get by and only managing to pay rent, and then thinking about how do I afford my bills, my food, before they even think about doing nice things. Everyone should have the higher quality of life could have had, I think, when there was more social housing and more affordable social housing.
The union have managed to get a reduction for people who are on universal credit, and then they were sticking at that, but we all got involved, organised more action. We organised a noise protest at the offices in town, and that pushed them a bit further, and they brought in this like lower tariff for like low use, so you didn't just have to be on universal credit. it was open to everybody, and that was really good. I've lived in lots of different places and never been in a position where I was in an organisation that could push a utility company to cut the amount it was charging us, and that was really empowering.
So what did you like about the Wyndford?
I was living really closely. I was in Leiden Court, which is just the other side of Maryhill Road, and I really liked it for convenience for getting around because I don't drive, so it's just handy for transport. And I wanted to live somewhere in Maryhill Road, I guess. It was very green, lots of trees, lots of grass, and just lots of people walking their tiny dogs. It felt quite nice. So and people would smile at you when you walk by. So I thought, having gone from living in rented flats for about, I think 17, 18 years, and often not knowing the person next door to me, it was just really nice to be in a place where people acknowledge each other, say hello, and you get to know names, which I have done now. I've got to know quite a few of my neighbours really well, so I love it here.
When you grow up in a place like this, there is the danger that kids have an early education in being defeated and overlooked, and learn that they can't affect things, and that they'll not be listened to their whole lives. And one thing I'm really proud of is that my kids are having the opposite experience. They get to come along to union things and they see the work that goes into it, and they know that they have to be quiet in a meeting, and they know that they have to be on best behaviour for union business, but they see the outcome as well. They see that you win things through collective action, and they feel a sense of pride in having been a part of it. And so, I hope that's something that they carry with them into adulthood.